When you were growing up, did you have some heroes, some people that you looked up to that you wanted to be just like them when you were an adult? I hope so. And this is the interactive portion of the sermon. Who were they? Tell me. Who'd you look up to?
My father.
Your father. Excellent answer. Not the one I was looking for, but an excellent answer. No, we certainly looked up to our parents. Hopefully they set good examples for us. Who else? Yes? Mother Teresa. Okay. Doing good work in Calcutta. Others? Yes? Your great aunt. Okay.
Willie Mays.
Willie Mays. Okay. You wanted to be a baseball player.
Sky King.
Sky King. Hey. Somebody's got to fly around and solve people's problems. Who else? Yeah.
My grandmother.
Your grandmother. Val?
My mother, my aunt.
Your mother and your aunt. Okay. Louisa May Alcott.
Alice Paul.
Alice Paul. Okay. Who else? This is such a great list.
Biology teacher, Mr. Pinko.
Your biology teacher, Mr. Pinko.
I was just going to say teacher too, Miss Diggs.
Miss Diggs. Okay. Mr. Cameron, my science teacher in 6th grade, was one of my heroes as well. Anybody else want to share one? It's such a great grouping that we have. Everybody from teachers to parents to aunts to Sky King to Willie Mays. A lot of folks that we looked up to that we wanted to be just like them when we grew up. And I'm a little surprised that Willie Mays is the only athlete that got mentioned. Because certainly athletes, we hold them up, we put them on a pedestal in our culture. And our young people think, oh, I want to be a professional fill-in-your-sport player, right? I mean, that's why on Sunday mornings we have them go to soccer instead of coming to church and stuff like that. That is why, isn't it? Well, at any rate, we have these athletes and we look up to them as a culture. And certainly this last week, we have seen just some stellar performances. And most notably, I think, at the U.S. Gymnastics Championship last Sunday evening, when Simone Biles managed to, for the first time ever, perform a triple-double. Now, for those of you who don't follow gymnastics, a triple-double is a double backflip while simultaneously making a triple twist. I did say backflip, didn't I? This is not even a forward. And to watch her do this was amazing. As she came back across the map, took about 2 bounces and then defied physics, landing a perfect landing and doing something no woman has ever done before. In fact, if she does this a second time in competition, they're going to name the move after her. It will become a Biles. It's amazing to see someone who has such grace and poise and strength, to see a woman who is taking the sport to the next level and doing things never done before. Now, that's not the only sport in the world, of course. This last couple weeks we have watched the U.S. women's soccer team win the World Cup. I was surprised when my wife and I were on vacation. Our son Ian came to New York just to be there at the parade celebrating their arrival back home. He didn't even get to come home because we weren't there. Came up from D.C., celebrated, went back to D.C. A lot of people were celebrating. And just yesterday, as I was driving up for Sue's memorial service, I was listening to Weekend Edition on NPR, and there was a story about female soccer players from around the world gathering in Berlin as part of the 8th Discover Football Festival. These teams included women from countries where women's sports are generally discouraged: Serbia, Bolivia, Armenia, Nepal. Some of these women gathering in Berlin were even more marginalized. There was a team from Iran where women are allowed to play, but it's illegal to broadcast their games. There was a group called Rainbow Women of Kenya, featuring lesbian, bisexual, and queer women. And there was a German team called Players Without Borders, made up of refugees living in Berlin. These women were coming together to play soccer, some of them for the first time in the open, playing with other women, mixing it up so that everybody was getting to play with members of other teams, and the all-star team that played was a wonder. Women from around the world playing soccer together. These young women commented that they are looking to athletes like the U.S. women's team, not just as examples of what it means to play the sport well, but as role models in speaking up against inequities in the system of national and international sport. It's pretty impressive to see this kind of gathering taking place. In the book of Hebrews, the Apostle Paul writes to the church about role models. And I love this passage that you read just a little bit ago, because Paul starts off talking about particular people. And last week's reading, where he talked about Abraham and Sarah, was the beginning of it. And then he goes on to talk about Jephthah and Samson and Barak, talking about these people who were leaders of Israel, who were people of faith, who showed off what it meant to live as God's people. And then, in true Pauline fashion, he says, but I don't have time to tell you about all of them. And then he takes a deep breath and gives the list of people who were persecuted, sawn in half, who did toil, who did labor, who went through all of these hardships, who persevered. And you can just hear him as he breathlessly gets to the end of his not exactly list. And then he exhorts us. Lay aside then all the things that hinder you. For since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, run the race to the best of your ability. He paints this image of all of these people that he's already mentioned as onlookers, as spectators for the race that we run. It's an image that carries us, doesn't it? Yesterday, as we gathered here celebrating Sue Roberts' life, we talked about the things that she had done, the ways that she had lived out her faith. And this packed sanctuary yesterday was a testimony and a testament to the faith that she lived out. And certainly the flowers that are here filling our altar area today are a reminder. But there are others. Fathers, mothers, aunts, people who have shown us what it means to live our lives as faithful people. I'm not sure Sky King exactly embodied faith, but some positive virtue. But we have a whole cloud of witnesses watching and cheering us on. You know, last week as Simone Biles managed to stick that triple-double, I imagine all of the women who went before her. Those gymnasts who, prior to 1976, would work a backflip into their routine. I imagine Elena Mukhina, the Soviet gymnast, who in 1978 performed the first single double. And then, after that, Daniela Salivas, the Romanian woman, who performed a double-double and astonished the world. I imagine them watching as Simone Biles managed to stick that triple-double and thinking to themselves, not, this woman just stole our record, but instead watching with pride, thinking, what we have done in the past has been taken to yet another level. I think about that cloud of witnesses who watch us as we run our race, cheering us on, wanting us to do better than they did, wanting us to go farther, faster, cheering as we run our race. You know, sometimes that cloud of witness shines for us. It's a way that we see God's light shining in the world. Mother Teresa with her example of faith. Those teachers who taught us what it meant not just to be students and eventually teachers ourselves maybe, but to be better people, to be inquisitive. The cloud shines because it reflects the light of God, carrying that light to us as we too run our race. May we then set aside everything that holds us back. May we run faithfully and well. Amen.